There we go.
Why can't I see the camera though?
Welcome, everyone.
Hello, welcome.
Thanks for joining us. Give it a couple of minutes, let everybody get in here. We're going to be talking about our fluid art ready to pour acrylic paints today. We thank Michael for having us.
Very decent.
This ready. We'll be beginning shortly, so just hang on just a little bit, guys.
I'm doing my little pan. All the beautiful colors. You can start.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. And thank Michaels for having us. I'm Crimson, and we're going to be talking about our ready to pour fluid art paints. And they're so fun and colorful. So I'm going to show it as many as I can get to today, projects and ideas that will give you inspiration. So I'll just get started right away. And if you have any questions, we'll get those answered for you. And I just want to say, first of all, we have an amazing set of colors that Michaels offers. And coming up the next month, there's going to be some new additions like our color combination packs. And you won't even have to think about color combinations. They're going to have some metallics in there and then some bigger sizes as well. So that's really fun. So we'll get started.
What is fluid art?
Fluid art has the pouring medium already mixed in to the paint, so you don't have to do any mixing. It's already in the bottle and it's just ready to go as soon as you open it up. And that's what I love about it, because it's just easy, a little less messy, but you know, it's
why can't you just use regular acrylic paint?
Well, acrylic paint doesn't really flow, and you can't really get it to flow on the surface when you're trying to do these nice patterns. And it's really nice, and you'll see as we go along, and you'll see how it just like moves, and you can really get some cool looks with it.
Cool.
Okay, so I have some of the projects that we're going to be working on today. The first one, I'll just take this down. I did this kind of easy and fun contemporary dot piece, and I did it with all different colors. Now you can obviously pick whatever color palette you want to do. But this is so easy, and I'll just show you real quick. I'll lay that right there. Actually, I'm going to hang it back up because it'll be in my way. So the first thing you need for this project is some freezer paper. And I think freezer paper is really great for working with these paint points, especially if you want to save the skins. Like when you do a pour and you'll see there's some really cool things you can get that from the drippings. So freezer paper is great because the paint doesn't stick to it. So first, I got just like a foam core board and taped some freezer paper onto it. And you can see this is what I did. I just took some of these paints and did different size circles, just like that. And I did sheets and sheets of them because I knew I was going to be doing multiple projects. But as you can see, you can pick the colors you want. And you can even give it a little shake if you want to flatten them out a little bit. And then you just allow them to dry. It doesn't take long, maybe a day. And then you're ready to go. I'll show you right here. I have sheets and sheets of all the different colors that I had prepared. And so all you need is a glass frame. And I liked the gold, and you can get any color that you want or use an old one and just paint it however you want. And I got this at Michael's, and I just took the back off. And then the way that I like to show you a little trick that, because when you fold these little metal types down, if you can see, they're going to show. So I have a tip to show you. If you stick a small paintbrush in there, and then just bend that around that circle, or that rounded surface, I mean, like that. Then you just pull it out. And you just push it in like that, and then it doesn't show. So then you're ready to go. I worked on the front of the frame. You could do it on the back if you want. You just do your design in reverse. So the easy thing about this, I like to have all my colors laid out so you can just pick what you want, but I'll just show you a couple here.
You created these dots, these circles, and then let them dry.
Yeah, and as you saw, they peel off really easy. And if they don't peel off, you can tell they just need a little bit more drying time. But like this, and you can just really just stick them on there. But I use some decoupage medium just to make it a little bit more sturdy. And really, you just have fun with it. There's no like right or wrong to it. It's just fun color combinations. You're just gonna stick those down, just like you're using the decoupage, like glue. You could use glue as well if you wanted. So you just lay that down. And then you just begin building those dots up and have a fun design with it.
So again, if you just use regular acrylic paint, would this work, or do you need to use fluid art paint because it's?
I feel like the fluid art paint is more flexible, and then you get this really nice shine as well. And then another tip, it's a little different look if you use this side or if you use this side. So it's your preference on what you want it to look like. And then also, before you glue them down, you can lay your dots out too, just to see your pattern, if you'd rather do that.
Crimson, question. Have you ever used stencils with this product, or would you say this is not really a stencil friendly product?
I feel like stencils wouldn't work really great with this in my experience, because like I said, it's really fluid, so it would just run in under the stencil. You'd want a firmer paint to work with stencils.
Yeah.
But as you see, it's nice. It's a little meditative. You just stick your little dots on there, and then you end up with a really cool piece that you can hang on your wall with other decorated pieces. So there's that.
Very cool.
Now, the next one I'm going to show you is this tray. I'll bring it over. So this was really fun, and it's just a wooden tray that I got at Michael's. It's just plain. I'd already traced the design on there, and I'll show you that in a second. Now, what's fun about these, and somebody had asked me, how do you get those tiny pores? Well, I tried to experiment with our writer kits, and they fit just right on our 8-ounce bottles. You can see here. And this was really fun because the paint is fluid, but you're also able to get a nice line on the wood because the paint absorbs into the raw wood. So like I said, you would either just freehand draw like a leaf, a monstera leaf, or something on there. I just stuck it in there. You want to use like a light color pencil, and I just traced around that stencil. And if you want a copy of that, it'll be on DecoArt's website to show you that project. So then we have our stencil. And I started out with the darkest green. It's an emerald green. And before I start working with these paints, like maybe 30 minutes or an hour before, I give it a good shake. That way, you know, it just mixes it together, but there's not a lot of bubbles when you go to pour. So these rider tips are nice. Get in here, it's kind of awkward. So I'm just tracing around my design. Now you see a little bit of bleed through, but that's fine because you're going to cover that up. No worries. So this is really your guideline.
Oh.
I don't know if I shook that one. And then it goes really fast.
Crimson, can you talk about, oh, there you go, writer tips. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Read your mind. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun with using these with the paint pouring paint. Which typically you think about it being really loose, but this just gives you a little bit more control. I thought it was nice change. So I'll show you that. And then I just started kind of filling in these areas. The dark green and that's splotchy design kind of. You can see like I did over there on the other one. There's no right or wrong to it. It's really just about what you like. Just filling that down like that. And then you're going to move on to the next color. And I used about 6 colors of this. And again, you can pick different colors if you would like. It just really shows you how to do this kind of like a small paint pour on a more controlled way. You're just going to bring that paint up into the others and kind of mix them together as you're adding the different colors.
Oh.
It's like a mini paint pour.
So it swirls within it, the different colors.
Yeah.
It's going to swirl together.
Green thing on there. Yeah, this is, again, it's just really fun and kind of meditative as you're going along and mixing these colors together. Again, you just kind of bring that in when you add a new color. Show you this nice mint green color. Oh, I didn't show these. This tray. You can really see when you mix the lighter colors into the dark. You can really control the swirls and where you want them and how much you want. When you add this bright chartreuse color, I love this color. It's like a highlight, but it looks really nice against the pink that we'll be using for the background. And I like to pick my color palette out beforehand, like And maybe I'll do an experiment to see if the colors go well together in the paint pouring. I think all of them really go well together. You can't really go wrong with these, which is nice. But like I said, if they will be coming out with those color combo packs that are nice because you don't even have to think about the colors. You just pick one up and start pouring. So once you get the inside of, or the inside of your leaf, you're going to take that pink. And it's nice because where that green kind of soaked into the wood, it's not going to bleed into it. You want more of a crisp line with the pink. And it's really just filling in that you can get in those tiny areas with the router tip. You just go along that edge. And you just go at it till you get finished. So you can see I finished this one off by painting some extreme sheen on the edge, and that was a good, combination with those two. Just give it a more finished look on those edges. So you have that nice metallic sheen and those bright colors. So I think it went really well together.
Crimson.
Yeah, and there's different colors of the extreme sheen if you'd rather do like a silver or a bronze. There's
Crimson,
many options to go with.
Crimson, when doing a design like this, could you actually move it and make it like move too, or do you prefer to leave it still?
Well, this specifically, I didn't want to do that because I wanted more control in the area. So I didn't want the movement. I wanted the rider tip to do the movement, because if you got too much paint on there, then it might run into your pink. So I think this was just an example of a way you can have more control, because usually the paint pours are, really fluid. So, I mean, they're fluid, but you're able to get those little swirls in yourself.
If you wanted to, could you just paint with regular paint background and then put the pour for the leaves?
Well, yes, but also the reason why that I didn't do that is because, like I said, I wanted that initial line to kind of soak into the porous surface, so it wouldn't move around. So I did that purposefully. So I think if you put a base coat on first, then you would get more movement. Yeah, because it wouldn't soak into the wood. So
You need to varnish the top of that tray as well, or
if
no?
it's decorative, no. But if you're going to put some, like liquid or glasses or something, yeah, I would put a coat of varnish on it just to make it more heavy duty. Set that down. Moving on, I'm going to show you pouring inside of glass. I thought it kind of got a look of like a faux blown glass once it dried. And it just got some really nice, like, they're kind of blurred, so the lines aren't really crisp. So I thought that really made it look like blown glass. And it's super easy to do. And you pick your favorite. You can see on the inside. You can pick your favorite lidded jar, just clear glass. I got this one at Michael's. You can also use like an upcycle one if you wanted to. So I'll get that going. This is my preferred way to pour, like a plastic tub. Catches all the drippings in there. And like I said, if you wanted to use those, we call them like skins. When you peel it off of that plastic, it peels off really nice when it's dry. And you can cut them up and use them for different things. So that's really fun. And these are just, closet organizers that you can write down. So they're really nice for when you need to drain things. So I thought that I would use this kind of lavender color palette. We have lavender, the mint green again, blue violet, and our bright violet, another one of my favorite colors. I really like this color and the chartreuse together. And I just think those go really great together. set these aside. And for this one, I will need gloves. Gloves are good. I mean, you don't have to wear gloves. It's obviously washable, and I just, between projects, it's going to be easier if I can just take gloves off. Another handy thing to have when you're doing pours are baby wipes and paper towels, because you will need those. So now what I did first was I just wiped down the glass surface with like a rubbing alcohol and a paper towel. I just like cleaned the inside and the outside just to get out any like oils or dirt or anything. So that just primes the surface and it's ready to go. So there's not really a right or wrong how you're going to pour this in. But if you think about where the paint touches, that's going to be like what's going to show first. So as you can see in this one, for example, I put down the darker color first, but see, it's like you can't see it. Whatever you want to show first is what you put down first. Does that make sense?
But this is more of a traditional pouring method.
Yeah, it's like a direct pour. Direct
Mhm.
pour is you just pour the paint directly onto the surface and then move it around. So that's, you're really going to see the fluidity of the paint. So the pattern, I mean, there's, like I said, no right or wrong to the pattern. I just got a little bit of each of the colors in there before I start moving it around. I thought I'd try out a little bit more of a dots, see how that looks for this one. You see that? Oops. It's kind of hard to do that.
No, you're fine.
I have some of the darker color in there. Now, as it's draining to dry, those colors really blend together, and like I said, the edges become more blurred. So, yeah, I'm gonna get all those colors in there, and then I'm gonna show you how that moved together. And this is one that's really good for using the extra paint that drips, because you will have some paint that drips down. So I don't like to waste it. You can use those skins for other projects. It's getting messy on the outside, but I'll clean that up in a second. So you just want to have enough paint in there to be able to swirl around the entire surface. You want to get all the glass covered on the inside.
This is the fun part.
Yeah, I love this part. And this one does take a couple of days to dry because, you know, it's an interior surface, so the air can't get in there as much to dry it quickly, but it's worth the wait. So then you're just going to let that, actually, I clean up the edge, the outside edge.
Hey, Crimson, quick question.
Yeah.
On the leaf project, did the question that someone was wondering if you actually use the tip of one color to kind of mix it with the other color? Like, were you able to put your tip into like a color that's there and kind of mix it that way, or did you just butt it up against the other color? Or
yeah,
both?
I just mixed it with the tip. And then usually I wipe the tip off just to keep it clean. But with that project, it's not really necessary because you're mixing them anyway. So I just clean them up at the end. So I just get that as it's dripping out. And every so often I will clean up that edge just so you won't have big drops of paint hanging down. But you can also, once it dries, if you do have some hanging down on that glass edge, you can just take an X-Acto knife and scrape it off, and then it's real clean. And then I would allow that to drain.
Can we see the inside one more time?
Yeah, I'm gonna do the lid too.
Oh, super. Inside little swirl.
You see it?
Yeah.
wanted to, you can leave that, but I did a small pour on the bottom as well, just to have that covered. So as it's drying, I just did a small pour there on the end. Yeah, so the same goes for the lid. Just put your paint in. It's fun to experiment, and I think that's what's good about those color combination packs, because they're small, and you can try out many different techniques and see if you really want to invest in getting a lot more, maybe even the big jugs.
So someone asked, you use a hair dryer.
Yes, you can.
That's called a Dutch pour when you use any sort of airflow.
Well, okay, yeah, and if you want to blow the paint, just if you're just trying to use it to dry it, you know, hold it back. But if you get closer, it's gonna make that blow out. So that's definitely a technique too. But yes, you could set a fan by it, and it would help it dry faster for this one. That's what you're trying to accomplish.
Turn this one together pretty.
Yeah. Just trying to get all that glass covered. There's a little bit in the ledge in there. It'll drip out. Well, you just check and see if all the glass is covered, and you just kind of wipe it first with your hands and then with a wipe. And you see how like I said before, the lines are really crisp right now, but as it drains, they'll kind of blur together and give it that blown glass look. That's fun. Set this
Very
one over
pretty.
here.
Got it?
Yeah. Only one drop on the outside.
Impressive.
Okay, moving on. So next, I'm going to show you these. I was trying to really experiment with doing like animal prints because they're so fun right now. I'm having these. I was trying to get like a tiger look, and absolutely have fun with these and experiment because, you know, different colors will give you different. This is more of a, you know, a muted color palette, more naturalistic. And over here I did like a leopard print that's more like vibrant and fun. So I'm going to show you both of those, and they're super easy. Get more gloves.
Hey, got a couple of quick questions for you. Let's see. One viewer asked if this is food safe. I told her that we don't recommend that you put food on it, even though it's non-toxic. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
And the other question is there a way to make this paint even more permanent? Would you recommend varnishing? Because I'm going to assume they cannot put water inside a vase if you've done it in the interior, correct?
Right, you would want to do a varnish if you're trying to do something like that. That would be obviously waterproof. Yeah, you just would read the directions on the whichever varnish you'd want to choose for that, just to make sure it's going to accommodate what you're trying to do.
Thank you.
I didn't know my canvas. Not easy. So this one I just did a long canvas, but you can do it on any size, obviously. So with this color palette, you can see it's more of like the burnt umber, black, ivory, beige, bright yellow, and the vivid orange. And this is fun, I think. So I just took the brown and did it down the center. Then I did some orange on either side of that brown. Then I took some of the beige. Oh, first I'm gonna do the yellow on the outer edge. And then the beige. Then I did some of the ivory right there on top. Now, with this one, I didn't really kind of move it around. I used like a cardstock piece of paper to blend it. So really just kind of dragging that paint together to blend it. That's going to give you your like background to your tiger look. Do that. Put that down in there. I just get a clean piece each time so the colors don't blend together from the other side. Now, I would take a little bit more time to get those edges covered as I'm going, because that just gives it a more finished look. You don't want your edges to be just raw canvas. So the centerpiece, I don't need to get a new piece of paper. Just kind of blending it together now. And you can blend it as much or as little as you want. And if you think it needs more of one color, you can add more of one color and just keep blending it. I just dragged it till I got it to what I like. So it's really just your preference, how you want it to look. Now I'm not really trying to scrape, see how I scraped the paint right there. I'm really just kind of laying it on top and dragging it. And if you do get like a little scraped area, you just go back over it. And you could give that card a little movement. I think that looks more like hair. You got that. And then for the stripes, what I did was I took a writer tip again and I put it on the black. And you can look at a picture of like, you know, if a tiger skin that you like or a pattern that you really like, but I just kind of freehanded it and just did. So you're kind of injecting the black into the paint. So I'm just kind of making stripes, more like loose checks kind of. So you can see it's sort of underneath that base color. I'm gonna try to do this on the left. And then you have your stripes. So when you have that, then I like to go back over on the top in certain areas, make that paint a little bit more heavy. So when you're going to turn it vertical, it's going to drag down more. And you'll see in a second when I do that. I feel like I painted somewhere it's not supposed to be. So you just kind of tap it and it gives you that look. And if it starts dripping too much, you can take it back the other way. Yeah. I'll show you the other one. You can see it dry. You can really just get that look if you want. That background, you can make it more orange or more neutral. It's just really your preference. As you see, it's super fast and easy to do. I think it'd be really fun to do on a big canvas as well. Now I'm going to show you the bright colored Leopard pattern, which is also very easy to do. Different color palette, and again, you can use whatever colors you want. I'll show you this one up close. That's just a fun color palette. I thought was really bright and vibrant. And as I said before, there's so many colors of the ready to pour fluid arts, and you can just have so many options. And in May, they're going to have color combo packs at Michael's that you won't even really have to think about the color palette if you don't want to. You can just pick one up and start pouring. Get these other colors out. Like I said, with this one, I did more of a brighter color palette. So, you know, colors that complement each other. Again, these are my two favorite color combos together because they just really pop against each other. So with this one, I just did a small canvas, but obviously you can do it on any size you want. What's great about these is you can just pour them directly out of the bottle. There's no mixing or no preparation. You just start, all you have to do is really just shake them and take the lid off, and that's it. So with these, I just did a couple of swirls. And I have to get the edges. Now with the chartreuse, did some more swirls. Oh, this one, you can tell I use this one a lot. It's almost out. I'll just use some more yellow. You don't have to cover it completely. Because what you're going to do is, I have a stick somewhere. Let me find it. Well prepared. In a different, sorry. A little skewer, wooden skewer. And what I did really was just kind of drag it like in a back and forth motion. I'm not really trying to pull the paint. I'm really doing it on top, and it's just kind of swirling it together, giving it just that cool pattern. That's just to get it started. You could obviously add a little bit more paint and just swirl it around if that's what you want to do, and I'll show you that in a second. Because this is really just the background color, so I didn't want the pattern to be too bright and noticeable, just enough to give it some movement back there. It's just fun to experiment with different tools and ways of doing the paint pours. I think watching videos and trying to figure out new ways is one of the most fun parts of it, doing it. So then I took that, I'll show you. You can kind of move it around, really get that going. And if you just keep turning it, it'll give you that cool swirl. You can do as much or a little as you want. And I just like to use my fingers and kind of get those edges, like I said, covered. If you want to start with a painted base as well, if you want some of that canvas to show, do that too. It's really just your preference. And I just did freehand loose shapes of a leopard print. Again, if you wanted to look at an actual pattern, just kind of do these fun C shapes. C for crimson. Just in a random pattern. There's no right or wrong. I kind of make that inside a little bit thicker than the edges just to give it that leopard print look. So then you just take that next color. I'm going to give a center to those. It's really just a circle, not much to it. And you see this goes really fast. So it'd be great for kids to, you know, help you out and do some fun projects, family projects. And then again, I tried to do this router tip to just to get that more precise line in there as I'm going. Oh, I forgot a center on that one. It's okay. It might be nice to even have, if you have a bunch of colors, to have some of them poured out just so you can see them, how they look out of the bottle too. That gives you just another way to plan your color palette for a project. And I did move these around a little bit just to get more cool shapes like that. See how nice they glide? You can really move it around if you want. I kind of wanted these to stay sort of in place. So say that was a really fast and easy project. Those fluid art paints. I'm gonna set this aside. How are we doing on time? We got time to do a couple more.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
If you have one more that's more like traditional color,
Yeah.
that-
So then I'm going to show you one on this that I'm going to do. Like, I was just kind of thinking of like nature inspired. So, you know, those looks of like geodes and those fungus that grow on the tree. Is it like turkey tail or something? I don't know what they're called. But what I experimented with this is doing like a dirty pour. That's where you layer the paint in a cup. And, you know, you get whatever size cup you need for your project. It's got some nice vibrant colors here to work with. And for this one, I'm going to show you some scooping of the paint after we pour it on. So that'll be fun. I had a lot of fun experimenting with that. So you're never going to get the same two exactly the same, but I'll show you how this one looked. Just how I used the scooping and laying it back on the canvas, and I'll show you how I did that. Just got some really cool lines going in there. So what you do is you just layer your paints. Now, whichever color you put in first is what's going to be on top. So just keep that in mind when you're layering colors, and it might take a couple of, you know, experiments to see which color combo you got best.
One thing I always struggle with is enough paint putting to cover the whole canvas.
Yeah, I think, and you can always re-pour into the cup, like if you didn't pour enough. So that's good. You don't have to worry about not getting enough. You can always just redo it. Now you can pour it straight in, or you can do it at an angle like I'm doing. I'm going to do like a circle pour onto the canvas. If you were going to do like where you flip the cup over, I would just pour it in the center and it wouldn't make any difference. Just keep layering those beautiful colors. arms are getting tired. I'm shaking. Sorry. Need to adjust your screen. See, these are so pretty layered together, I think. And I personally have not tried this color combo, so hopefully it's good. I just thought they looked good together. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pour it on. And you can pour it like different ways to get different patterns if you want. And with this one, I'm not real worried about getting those edges right away because I am going to scoop up the paint and lay it back down. So there is going to be some more pouring. So I'm going to start moving it around just to see what I can get pattern-wise. I really like what's happening here. So as I said, those scooping and moving around the paint.
Oh, wow.
I really like that color combo.
That's beautiful.
So if you find if you find some that you really like a pattern, you're like, wow, that's really cool right there. What I found, don't be afraid to do this. You can scoop it and lay it back down in a different direction if you want.
Wow.
And then if you find something that you can even do this and it would make like a different pattern. And then you can re-scoop that up. And then you really start to get those looks of like geodes and those striped fungus looking things. Just some really cool patterns you can experiment with. You can even do like a sort of a patchwork of paint pouring. I just had a lot of fun experimenting with this, palette knife. So I'm just doing it really slowly, giving enough time to pour down onto the canvas the way I want. And keep doing that. I really like how that edges. I'm gonna leave it. And then you can move it around some more to get even more movement there. You see that?
Yeah, that's stunning.
So cool. You'll just want to show all your friends and family. You're like, come here and look what I did. It's so cool. It's really fun. And you just keep turning it around the way you want. And then if you get to where you want, and you just leave it flat to dry, and it just stays the way you want. And like I said, if you have a little space here that you want to re-pour, you just kind of pour some more into a cup. And then do a different combination if you want. You can even make designs when you're pouring it out of the cup, so that's cool. And I would encourage you to even watch even more videos, different artists out there, because there's some really cool techniques that people are doing and you can experiment with them. And there's just so many. Wow, that looks really cool.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
That's fun. So that's it for that. And like I said, you can leave it on here to dry that way. I like to scrape that extra dripping off the bottom with my hands just before, and maybe just a little bit into the drying time. Another good thing is if you are going to use freezer paper to lay it on flat, just put some push pins on the back of those canvas and it keeps it off of the surface for you. That way it doesn't have a big pool of paint that you're going to have to trim later. And I have one more kind of fun technique to show you. And it's just a really easy and fun thing I did with some extra black paint. Like say you had extra paint. It could be any color that you wanted to do. If you just had one color, I think this was super fun to do this like animal print, like wall hang. All I did was took some raw canvas and just trimmed it out. Just like that. Show you. And you could do it in a square. You wouldn't even have to cut it. If you wanted to make it even more personalized, you could put a face on it or let your kids put a face on it. It'd be really fun. So then all you have to do is lay it out. Look, it's backwards. You saw my pencil marks on the other side. So like I said, there's not really right or wrong, and this is super easy. Now, at home, when I tried this out, my hands are sweaty. I put freezer paper on this side just because it will bleed through a little bit when you're pouring it, which is fine. You just have to account for that. And what's great about the freezer paper too, if you want to reuse it, you can just wipe it up with a baby wipe.
Someone said Miss Crimson is so organized.
I like to be organized, especially with paint pouring because it gets messy. So I need to have a little bit of control. So I just kind of freehanded the pattern, and I started from the center and just kind of did fun shapes. Did like some circles. Oops. And again, I did use the writer tip, but I'm going to show you. I just did that really to get an idea where I want the stripes, because I really want more paint than this than the writer tip is going to give me. I'm actually running out of black.
Oh no.
That's okay. I'll switch to this color.
Like a purple.
Probably better anyway.
Purple tiger.
Purple tiger. So what I'm going to do is pop this lid off. Oh, actually, I have one. There we go. I want more paint, so I'm going to just lay those in. Go over my lines. It gives me a little bit more. And you don't have to do the writer tip. I was just being extra. You can be a little bit more cleaner with your lines, but as you're going to see, it doesn't really matter because you're going to squish them together, so it kind of works out. And you can just play with the design and how you want it. Get a couple of dots in there. When you fold it over, like that fun.
Oh, yeah. This is why fluid art, because you have this fluid thick.
Yeah, I mean,
It's thick, but it's also fluid, and
yeah,
so it makes it flow in the way.
yeah. I mean, you could do it with regular paint, but I like the fluid art because it is really fluid, and you see how fast that I did that. If it was regular paint, it'd be a little bit thicker, and it would just take longer. And you're just gonna fold it over. I had a center line that I was kind of going by there. I probably messed it up. Yeah, I did that. Well, we'll see how that goes. It's fine. It's gonna be a little off center. Now it is good to have the gloves for this because, like I said, it does bleed through you a little bit. You just want to get it pressed down. And see how it is moving under there. So that's another reason why I think the fluid art is good for this, because you do want it to squish around, get your design going. So let's see what we got. Oh, I like the two colors actually.
Wow.
So see how easy that was, and it's super fun. It'd be cute in the kids' room or even in the living room to hang up. I like how those two colors blended. So that makes me think it would be even fun to do multiple colors and have like a mini paint pour and the straps.
Mm-hmm.
So
Tiger.
yeah, that's all I had today. And if anybody has any questions or you want to see something, I think we have a little bit of time. I'm not sure, but yeah, thanks for joining us today. And make sure you check out those paint pouring colors at Michael's and the new ones that are coming in May. And I hope you experiment and have fun with it.
So Crimson,
Yeah.
I know that we don't have time to do a jewelry class, so I think people are going to want to see a jewelry class because we talked about that being a part of this one. But
Oh yeah.
can you talk to that for another class, a future class?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said earlier, well, let me get this off here so I can show you real quick. Especially in this tub, what's cool, see how this paint in here is gonna kind of dry and you're gonna be able to peel that off. I thought, and another idea that I had was to have like, you know, the polymer clay and shape some really cool modern shapes, simple, and then take these skins once they're dry and cut them out and put them on your baked polymer clay, like earrings or pendants. So that would be a really fun project to do.
Cool.
Well, again, thank you so much. And thanks for Michael for having us. And I hope you have fun trying all these paint pour techniques out. Have a good day.